For the next 75 days, starting tomorrow, November 1st, I will consume 0 caffeine. I will fast 1 day per week. I will work out twice per day. I will read 10 pages per day. I will drink 1 gallon of water per day, and I will take 1 progress picture every day. Team, welcome to the video. In this video, we are going to be talking about 0 caffeine. We are going to talk about fasting and the benefits of fasting. We're going to talk about mental toughness. We're going to talk about scheduling or programming body recomposition if you want to be training very often. And I'm going to talk about these things through the lens of Andy Frisella's 75 Hard Challenge, which, as I mentioned, I'm starting tomorrow, November 1st. Let's get into it. The 75 Hard Challenge requires you to do 5 things perfectly every day for 75 days. Number 1, work out twice per day. 1 workout must be outside. Number 2, follow a nutrition plan perfectly. Number 3, consume at least 1 gallon of water per day. Number 4, read at least 10 pages per day. And number 5, take a progress picture every single day. So, first, train twice a day, every day for 75 days. So 150 workouts. 1 of those workouts every day must be outside. And Andy was very specific about this in the podcast, which I'll link down in the description, where he talks about the reasoning for this 75-day hard challenge. And one of the main reasons for being outside is it makes it harder. Like, the whole purpose of this is for it to be not easy, because it's a challenge of will. It's a challenge of certain personality traits and characteristics that are, I would say, drastically fading in our society today. And training outside absolutely makes it more difficult, especially when you take weather into consideration. Now, in New York, the climate's pretty mild even in December, January, but it could be raining, there could be a blizzard, and getting 45 minutes of low intensity cardio in when you'd rather not just puts you in a different place here, not only for those 45 minutes, but in life. So 4 days a week of strength training, 7 days a week of low intensity steady state cardio. The other 3 days will either be some kind of cardio, some kind of yoga, jiu-jitsu, or if I'm running out of things to do, just a straight ab hypertrophy volume day, which I obviously don't recommend. But if you're someone who does want to have your abs show through at a slightly higher body fat percentage, building your ab muscles, like physically making them larger, is going to help with that, both in low and high rep ranges. So if there are 1 or 2 45-minute straight ab days per week, I'll be doing that. Or I might break my strength training sessions into 2. So an AM like strength work and a PM hypertrophy session, which would be of the same body parts or same movement patterns. By the way, I mentioned this in my last video, but I will be documenting all of this on my Instagram story if you want to follow me there, Mike Vacanti. But I will also be tracking in this nice little sheet that I made for myself, old school, paper and pencil. When you're in there, if you're tracking on Excel, I like Excel. I think Excel is amazing, but if you're tracking on a computer or on a phone, it's too easy for me to get distracted and just habitually go to Twitter, to Instagram, to the internet, to check texts. And so I really like, for calendars, for to-do lists, I still really like paper pencil. Number 2, follow a strict nutrition plan. In the podcast, Andy talks about what was basically a super clean eating plan. And again, the purpose of this is to test here. I know I keep saying this, but so many of the concepts here don't apply if you are 70 pounds overweight and trying to make a physical transformation, right? Consistency over perfection applies in that situation, which is most situations in fitness. But here, we're striving for perfection because we're training this. We're not training this or this, okay? So Andy talks about clean eating and basically says you need to follow the nutrition plan perfectly for 75 days. And that means that if on day 64 you're at a barbecue and you accidentally have a handful of M&Ms when M&Ms weren't on your nutrition plan, you lost, you failed. Now, I'm not going to be following a strict clean eating nutrition plan. He talks about you pick your nutrition plan, you pick the plan that makes the most sense for you. His only stipulation was no alcohol. And so the nutrition plan that I have chosen that makes the most sense for me is not clean eating. It's not a ketogenic diet. It's not tracking macros specifically, even though I will be, just because it's part of what I do. Like, I'll be paying attention to that. I'll be making sure I get enough protein because I don't want to leave those gains on the table. But that isn't my plan. My plan, the thing that will be hard for me and benefit me the most nutritionally, even though it's not optimal for my physique: 1, 0 caffeine for the entire 75 days. 2, 1 fast day per week every day. And on that fast day, I will consume 0 calories. It'll probably be Sunday, but just 1 day per week, a complete fast day. So that is my nutrition plan that I need to execute perfectly. I talked in my last video about my plan to wean off of caffeine. I didn't really. I'm at about 300 milligrams per day, so it's not like I'm going from 700 milligrams to 0. Like, I doubt that I will have most of the caffeine withdrawal symptoms, headaches. I think I'll be quite lazy and low energy, especially for the first few days. We'll find out. But I don't think that I'll have really bad physical symptoms. But tomorrow starts 0 caffeine, and then 1 day per week, 0 calories is my nutrition plan. Obviously, I will not be strength training on the fast day. That just wouldn't make sense, given that I only have to fast once per week and I'm going to be strength training 4 days per week. So the fast day will probably be yoga and cardio, or maybe abs and cardio, or jiu-jitsu and cardio. But that is my nutrition plan that I need to execute perfectly, not have any caffeine, and fast. The reason that I chose no caffeine is because I feel like I rely on external things to feel better, to prompt action. And I want to be able to prompt action just from my gut. Like, I want to be able to wake up at 3:47 in the morning and just go, and that's not my plan. But I want the ability to just do without having to feel a certain way before doing. And I was using caffeine as a crutch. Like, for example, I can't think of a morning in the last 3 years where I replied to client emails without having a cup of coffee or an energy drink. So I know that I can work and be at my best without caffeine, but I want to prove it to myself. So that's where the no caffeine is coming from. That's why I think it will really benefit me. The fasting is primarily because it will be difficult. Consuming 0 calories and just water in a day is hard, and especially with no caffeine, which is an appetite suppressant, which actually helps a fast, it's going to be very difficult. There is like a spiritual soul, like there's some godly element to fasting that I don't understand and that I actually don't really know anything about, but that I just feel. And so that pulled me in this direction also. And then the third reason for me choosing fasting as part of my nutrition plan is I really think there are some health benefits, even if minor, that I want to experience for myself. And I'm not talking about increased growth hormone. I'm not talking about, lower triglycerides, better blood sugar, like things that, yes, they may exist, but they aren't things that I necessarily need. The benefits of these 36-hour fasts, 32 to 36-hour fasts that I'll be doing once per week or the potential benefits, I should say, the benefits that I'm seeking are cognitive, digestive, and not anti-aging in like a vain sense, but anti-aging in a health and how my body performs globally sense. So those are the reasons that I'm choosing fasting for the second part of my nutrition plan. Training twice per day, 1 workout outside, follow my nutrition plan, no caffeine, fasting once per week. And again, I'll have my macros in a slight surplus, even though that's not part of my nutrition plan, and I'm going to try to eat primarily clean, we'll just say for brevity, but primarily micronutrient dense, healthy, traditionally healthy foods. Number 3, drink at least 1 gallon of water per day. I do this almost every day already. I average about 1.5 gallons. I do this because it makes me feel a lot better and more energetic and more mentally sharp when I drink water, and it makes me feel physically more energetic. and I'm just regularly thirsty. So the 1 gallon of water won't be a problem, but I am going to be tracking it with a half-gallon jug just to make sure I'm doing that every day and checking that box. Number 4, read at least 10 pages per day. I will be doing that. I will be checking that box. I'll be making sure I'm reading at least 10 pages every day, and I will be sharing that on my Instagram story as well, obviously. I like to read a few books at the same time, so I will likely continue that trend. And number 5, take a progress picture every single day. If you've ever seen those like flip book effects where you look at a picture for 1/10 of a second and there's 100 or maybe even more pictures, that's the effect you can get with a progress picture, ideally in the same spot every single day, as you can really see that gradual progress, but it looks cool over time. Again, the purpose of the challenge isn't a physical transformation, but it's part of the challenge, so I'm going to do it. And in the spirit of progress pictures, I want to talk about what I expect to happen physically from this challenge. I already know what I expect to happen mentally. What I expect to happen mentally is I'm going to be better, I'm going to be sharper, I'm going to be more self-reliant, I'm going to be, I don't even want to say more productive, because productivity seems like something you strive to be versus just embody the character and the spirit and the traits that just do what I want to be doing on a regular, consistent basis without any need to feel a certain way or be in a certain mood or need a coffee or need a this or I didn't get enough sleep. Just mental toughness challenge. What I expect to happen physically, though, I expect to both build muscle and lose body fat, which is the holy grail of fitness, which shouldn't be able to happen at this stage of my training career, but let me explain why. I haven't been super dialed with my training or nutrition for some time, and I'm going to be extremely dialed for 75 days. I'm probably 15 pounds of muscle lower than the peak amount of muscle that I have ever had. So if you're familiar with this concept, you can regain previously possessed muscle at a rate much faster than it takes you to build that muscle initially. And I don't want to set the expectations for myself too high, but I do think that I will both build some muscle and lose some fat. And I think that will be evident in my progress pictures, which I'll share maybe intermittently, but definitely at the end of this challenge. I think that I will recomp, build some muscle and lose some fat. I don't know my exact weight on the scale. I think in the 170 range. And so I don't know if I'll actually get a little leaner and the scale will come up, or if I'll build some muscle and the scale will come down. And either of those, like, I wouldn't be surprised if I went up 5 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised if I came down 5 pounds. But I do expect me to be stronger, to have more muscle, and to lose some fat over the course of this challenge. That's all. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week, where we are probably going to talk about the ketogenic diet. Have a good night. Bye, guys.